Greetings, teacher, and hello, everyone. For today's presentation, we will be talking about a specific chapter in the story Village by the Sea, which is chapter 8. We are the first group to present, which members consist of 5 people, which are Justin, myself, Tepi, Syrika, Rithiya, and Voleakh. We'll be focusing on mainly 3 points, which are the brief summary of the chapter, analysis of the main messages, which includes the main theme and psychoanalysis criticism, and lastly, we'll be talking about the analysis of the connection between the story and real life.
Hello everyone, this is Justin and I'm going to do the brief summary of this chapter. So, Harry spent his first exhausting night in Bombay. After being handed breakfast the next day, Harry told the owner of the eating house that he doesn't have money to pay for the food that was given and that he wants to work there. The man considered for only a moment, then gave Harry a job where he can earn meals and 1 rupee a day. So Harry went to work with 2 boys in the Sri Krishna eating house where the usual customer are mostly beggars, coolies, and cart pullers. While Harry came out to clear the garbage, he saw a familiar old man working at a watch repair shop next door called Ding Dong Watch Works. It was Sayyid Ali from the Black Horse. Harry and the old man talked to each other for a while about where Harry was from, what he was doing, and then he told Harry about how Jagu, the owner of the eating house, found the 2 boys who lost their parents on a railway and that he was good to many. This makes Harry want to write a letter, so he asked the old man where the post office is, then went off to buy a postcard using the money he borrowed from the old man. He wrote, "Dear mother, I have a job. I will bring you my earning. I hope you are well. I am well. Remember me too, my sister, Harry." Back in Tol, Laila, Kamal, and Bella was helping the De Silva family who was staying there for a fortnight with cleaning and buying food because Harry, their brother, was not there. While Mr. De Silva was supposed to go shopping in Alibag, Laila managed to ask him for help with her mother, saying, "Sahib, can you take my mother to the hospital in Alibag? If you are going in the car, may she and I go with you. She's been so ill, and there's no doctor and no hospital here. And I'll work for you, and the money you pay me, that can pay for the medicine and the doctor." Mr. De Silva was shocked, and he agreed to help her out. He brought Laila and her mother to the hospital in Alibag. He also asked the doctor to help her out and take care of her. Laila was forced to leave her mother alone there at the hospital. That night, when her father was about to leave the house, he asked Laila where her mother was. Then Laila explained that she took her to the hospital. Then her father got mad and he went off to find her mother by himself. He also made Laila cook some food for him to bring it to her mother. While her father set off, Laila asked him about the Kanaka brother. Then her father said he will deal with them, and he went straight to the Kanaka house. Laila's father did not came back home that day or the next. When Mr. De Silva took Laila to collect the report of her mother, Laila was surprised for the first time that she saw her father is not drunk, as well as seeing her mother feeling better on the bed. The doctor explained to her that her mother is suffering from anemia and that she was lucky that she was brought in on time. Laila once again left her mother at the hospital alone with her father wanting to stay. While coming back home, Laila worried a lot about her mother and also about Mr. De Silva leaving soon. But Mr. De Silva managed to calm her down by saying he'll pay for the medicine and the hospital itself is free, as well as telling her that his friend from Bombay will come and stay for a few months during the monsoon season, and he will give her a job because he will need someone to clean and cook for him. He will pay her salary, and that can pay back for the medicine and for herself. When Lila arrived home, her sister Bella and Carmel was waving a postcard saying, "From Harry." Lila felt surprised and asked where he is. The end of that chapter. Thank you.
So, hello again, teacher and everyone. I'm Tepi, and I will be talking about one of the part of the analysis of the main messages. I will be going through the main theme of the chapter. The first theme that we can see is determination. Upon Harry's arrival to the city of Bombay, after joining the procession with the village people, being left out from the group, almost got fooled by the coconut seller and failing to meet with Mr. De Silva, Harry found himself helped by a stranger. The next morning he woke up to the most shabbiest restaurant. Despite being hungry, dehydrated and lonely, he never lost his hopes and still determined to find a job to earn money. He pushed himself to work at the restaurant with the most poorest condition as possible in exchange for food and shelter, as well as money to send back to his family in tow. On top of that, he had to try to work cooperatively with the other two boys in the kitchen that didn't even speak his language. He was also very determined to write back to his family to update them on his whereabouts. As for the second part of the chapter, determination can be seen through Lila when her mother was falling weaker and weaker. She was helpless, but she was determined to help her mother. Therefore, she made up her mind and built up the courage to ask Mr. De Silva if he could take her mother to the hospital before it's too late, even though she was unsure if he would agree. While they were on the way, she was so focused on holding her mother and that she doesn't even want to look out the window. And once they have arrived, Lila also ran after the nurses and her mother. This does not show determination, but care and love towards her mother as well. For the second main theme of the chapter is kindness. Kindness can be seen through several situations in this chapter. As for Hari, Jagu, the restaurant owner, was kind enough to be concerned about him and gave him food and shelter. He also agreed to hire Hari and gave him a job there as a helping hand so Hari could earn some money to survive. Not only Jagu was kind to Hari, but to the other two boys that were working there as well. Another kind gentleman who owned a watch repair shop nearby was also kind enough to lend Harry a coin and gave him directions to the post office so Harry could buy a postcard and write a letter home. Another person that showed kindness was Mr. De Silva, who helped bring Lila who helped Lila bring her mother to the hospital in Alibag. He also paid for the medicine and drove Lila to and from the hospital. By the end of the chapter, he also offered Lila and her sisters a job to look after a friend who will be coming to tow. For the last main theme of the chapter is change and adaptation. This theme can be seen throughout the whole chapter for both main characters. Harry's life was slowly changing the moment he arrived at Bombay. He had to start adapting to the city's environment and to the new unfamiliar faces. On top of that, he had to get used to working at the restaurant, being alone, and maturing into a full-grown adult without his family. At the same time, back in Tull, Lila's life was also changing after she got offered a job. She had to adapt herself into living without her big brother and continue being a mother figure to her sisters. This is the end of my part. Thank you.
Now moving on to the next point, my name is Syrika and I'm going to presenting about psychoanalytic criticism. So in this chapter, we will analyze four different characters, which are Harry, Lila, Mr. and Mrs. De Silva, and Lila fathers. So the first character is Harry. In this chapter, we can see that his behavior is driven by his desire. Since the beginning of the story, he's always have the desire to go to Bombay and become rich. His action is that when he arrived at Bombay for the procession, he was alone by himself and tried to find a job. So at first he go and find a job at the Silver, but he didn't get it. And at the end, he got help from Jagu, and now he have a job at the Sri Krishna eating house and a place to stay. And the next character is Lila. In this chapter, we can see that Lila had a strong desire and fear to save her mother from the illness and prevent them from getting worse. While Mr. De Silva planned to go to Aliba for food, she took the opportunity to ask for the ride for her mother to get treated at the hospital. Eventually, the kind Mr. and Mrs. De Silva agreed to help her and send her mother to the hospital. The next character is Mr. and Mrs. De Silva. In the studied text, we know that they are the kind couple who have desire and the ethical to help Lila and his mother and her mother. Just like the P has mentioned, they try to do the right thing by helping Lila family, like helping to send her mother to the hospital, suggest Harry for the job and give the family the job even though they are going to be away, and ensure Lila that everything is going to be okay. The outcome for them is that Lila and her family would definitely be grateful for their help and will always respect them. The last character is Lila's father. From the beginning of the story, we know that her father is a drunkard and he didn't have a job nor care about his family. But in this chapter, the character show his fear and worry for his wife who was sent to the hospital and stay there alone. And beside that, he also told Harry Beth to look after his daughter so that no one can harm them. We also noticed the change in character when Lila noticed her father isn't drinking any alcohol from two previous nights to look after his wife. And that's come to the end of the psychoanalytic criticism. Thank you.
Okay, let's continue to the last part of the presentation, which is about the analysis of the reflection of the story. Right now, I'm Voleakh going to explain the study of the chapter 8, which can be related to our real life situations. So there are two useful life lessons that have connects from the story which speak out the situation we are living in present. So the first one is there will always be a little light under the darkness. So there is one quote which said that born poor is not your fault, but if you still poor when you die, that absolutely is your fault. This shows that if people keep working hard, there will always be a little light under the darkness. As we can see, Harry was born in a poor family whose father is always drunk and mother is always ill. However, Harry still tried his best to find a job in Bombay. We also find out that when Harry first arrived in Bombay, his goal is to find Mr. De Silva. Hence, Harry didn't manage to meet Mr. De Silva because his family has already gone to Seoul. Luckily, he managed to work in the Sri Krishna eating house, and that is the small light which starting to shine in Harry's hard life. Furthermore, Lila has also managed to request Mr. De Silva to take her mother to Alipur Hospital. Soon, Lila's mother get better. Lila's father not drunk anymore and taking good care of Lila's mother. So, to the people around the world, please don't be mad because you were born poor or you feel like you are the most unlucky person in the world. Those obstacles are the best gift that given to your life to make you more mature and stronger. Thank you.
Good evening, teacher, and hello, classmates. Now I continue from Voleakh. We move to second point. You need to be proud if you want opportunity. As you know already, Harry get a job in Bombay, not just because he get lucky, because he was proud enough to go to Bombay, and he was proud enough to ask the shop owner, Chagu, to get a job for him. He willing to work for Chagu. And the second point, the second important is that Lila mother get treated in hospital because Lila was proud enough to ask Mr. De Silva to get her treated in Alibaba. And Lila said she will do work for Mr. Silva for hospital field. As you know already in River, there's a quote that said, lucky people get opportunity, but proud people create opportunity. It means that if we don't get opportunity, we have to create it. We have to proud enough to do that. We have to proud enough to ask for help because there are some kind people that willing to help us. Yes, that's all from my part. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any question, please ask.